Story of Caleb and the promise of Hebron in the days of Moses. As the Israelites journeyed through the wilderness toward the promised land, the Lord instructed Moses to send 12 men, one from each tribe, to spy out the land of Canaan. Among these 12 were Joshua from the tribe of Ephraim and Caleb from the tribe of Judah. These men were tasked with assessing the land, its inhabitants and its cities, and bringing back a report to the people. For 40 days, the 12 spies explored the land. They saw that it was indeed a land flowing with milk and honey, as the Lord had promised. They brought back a cluster of grapes so large that it had to be carried on a pole between 2 men. But they also saw fortified cities and giants, the descendants of Anak, who struck fear into their hearts. When the spies returned, 10 of them gave a discouraging report. The land is beautiful, but the people who live there are strong, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw giants there. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we were the same to them. The report caused the people to grumble and despair. They wept and cried out against Moses and Aaron, saying, "If only we had died in Egypt. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us be killed by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Let us go back to Egypt." But Caleb and Joshua tore their clothes and spoke to the assembly with faith and courage. Caleb declared, "The land we explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land and give it to us. Do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid." Despite Caleb's and Joshua's faith, the people refused to listen. They even talked of stoning them. Then the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of meeting, and the Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people treat me with contempt? How long will they refuse to believe in me, despite all the signs I have performed among them?" Because of their rebellion, God decreed that the Israelites would wander in the wilderness for 40 years, 1 year for each day the spies had explored the land, until that generation had died off. Only Caleb and Joshua, who had remained faithful, would be allowed to enter the promised land. 40 years passed, and after Moses' death, Joshua led the Israelites into Canaan. They conquered much of the land, but there were still regions to be claimed. Caleb, now 85 years old, approached Joshua with a bold request. He said, "You know what the Lord said to Moses about you and me at Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moses sent me to spy out the land, and I brought him back a report according to my convictions. My brothers who went with me made the hearts of the people melt with fear, but I followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. So on that day, Moses swore to me, 'The land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance. Now, give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day.' Caleb's faith had not wavered, and neither had his strength. He continued, 'The Lord has kept me alive these 45 years as he promised. I am still as strong today as I was then, for battle and for going out and coming in. With the Lord's help, I will drive out the Anakites, just as he said.' Joshua blessed Caleb and granted him Hebron as his inheritance. True to his word, Caleb drove out the Anakites, securing the land the Lord had promised him. Hebron became his possession, a lasting testament to his faith and unwavering trust in God. Thus, Caleb's life stands as an example of steadfast faith and perseverance. While others doubted, Caleb believed in God's promises. His story reminds us that those who follow the Lord wholeheartedly will see his promises fulfilled, even if it requires patience and endurance.